My name is Alara. I'm 45 years old, and my life, as I knew it, is over. The phone rang, piercing the heavy silence of the house. I knew who it was before I even looked at the screen. My mother, Amalia. I let it ring 3 times, taking a deep, steadying breath before answering. Her voice was like poisoned honey, sickly sweet. Alara, my dear, I was just thinking about you. And about those poor, motherless babies. I closed my eyes, gripping the kitchen counter until my knuckles turned white. Mother, we've been over this. Her sweetness evaporated instantly, replaced by the sharp, judgmental tone I knew so well. Don't you use that tone with me. I'm talking about your Christian duty. They are Matteo's blood. Your late husband's sons. You can't just abandon family. I stared across the room at the coffee table, where my husband's old tablet lay charging. His ghost, and all his secrets, were trapped in that little black rectangle. I am not abandoning anyone. I am taking care of my daughters, I said, my voice dangerously quiet. You are being selfish, she hissed. Cold and ungodly. You're throwing 2 innocent babies into the foster care system just to spite a dead man. I said nothing, letting her words hang in the air. She had no idea. She had no idea that I knew everything. For 23 years, I thought my marriage to Matteo was, if not a fairy tale, then at least a solid partnership. We had 2 beautiful daughters, now 14 and 16, a comfortable life, and what I believed was mutual respect. That illusion shattered 6 months ago. The truth didn't just knock on my door, it kicked it down. Matteo had been having a 4-year affair with a woman half his age. I found out because she had just given birth to his twin sons. Our world imploded. Divorce was the only path forward, but the man I had loved turned into a monster overnight. He became cruel, verbally abusive. I'll never forget the day he tried to kick me and our daughters out of my own childhood home, the very house I had inherited from my grandmother. He stood on the lawn, throwing my clothes out of a suitcase, screaming, "This isn't your house anymore. It belongs to my real family now." Our daughters watched from the window, their faces streaked with tears. Then, in a horrific twist of fate, just as our lawyers were finalizing the separation, it all ended. Matteo and his mistress were killed instantly in a head-on collision on the interstate. Their twin babies, strapped securely in their car seats, survived without a scratch. Suddenly, 2 infants were orphans, and my nightmare found a new, deeper level of hell. My mother's crusade to have me adopt those twins wasn't surprising. Her favoritism towards Matteo had been a constant, dull ache throughout my marriage. It was a gallery of 1,000 tiny cuts, a museum of pain I walked through daily. I remember one exhibit clearly, the dinner to celebrate my promotion to partner at my architecture firm. I was thrilled, proud of the years of sleepless nights and hard work. As I shared the news, my mother offered a tight smile. "That's nice, dear," she said, turning to Matteo. "But don't let all this career business make you forget your main job is to take care of your husband." Matteo just sat there, basking in her approval. Another exhibit was her obsession with sons. At my cousin's son's baptism, she pulled me aside, sighing dramatically. "A man needs a son to carry on his name, Alara. Daughters are wonderful, but they just get married and leave." She said it loud enough for half the family to hear, a public declaration of my failure. And then there was this house. She never called it my house, even though it was my inheritance. It was always the family home. She'd talk about Matteo's office and Matteo's garden, systematically erasing me from my own space, making it clear that in her eyes, my only value was as an extension of my husband. A husband she always thought was too good for me. A week after the funeral, I began the grim task of sorting through Matteo's things. His clothes, his books, his life packed into boxes. Late one night, fueled by coffee and grief, I found his old tablet shoved in a desk drawer. I don't know why I picked it up. Maybe I was looking for closure, for answers. His password was our anniversary. The irony was a bitter pill. I opened his messages, my heart pounding, and there it was, a chat thread with Amalia, my mother, stretching back for years. My blood ran cold. It wasn't just that she knew. She was a co-conspirator. I scrolled up, my hands trembling, my breath catching in my throat. 4 years ago, a message from my mother: if Alara is too busy with her blueprints to give you a son, then you have my blessing to find a woman who will. My stomach churned. It got worse. I saw messages where she criticized me, telling him I'd let myself go, that I wasn't a proper wife anymore. She helped him choose gifts for his mistress. Then I found the link to his bank app. I opened it, and the final betrayal slammed into me with the force of a physical blow. A recurring monthly transfer. From my mother's savings account to his. For the past 2 years. The total was over $20,000. She had been funding my husband's secret life. She paid for the apartment where he betrayed me, for the expenses of the woman who was carrying his children. The frantic push for me to adopt the twins wasn't about duty or God. It was a desperate, twisted attempt to clean up a mess she had helped create, to bury her guilt under the roof of the daughter she had so thoroughly betrayed. The grief I felt for my dead husband evaporated, replaced by something cold and hard as steel. The architect in me took over. I wasn't just a grieving widow anymore, I was a woman designing the demolition of a lifetime of lies. There would be no screaming matches, no tearful accusations. My response would be methodical, precise, and absolute. My first call was to my tia Isabel, my mother's younger sister. She was the only one who ever saw past my mother's perfect facade. I sent her the screenshots, my hands steady now. She called me back within minutes, her voice choked with fury. "That woman," she whispered, "that woman is not my sister. What do you need me to do?" Her unwavering belief was the foundation I needed. "I need you to be a witness," I told her. My next steps were clinical. I backed up every message, every bank statement to a secure cloud server. I printed hard copies, placing them in a file folder. Then, I composed an email. The subject line read, "An urgent family meeting." I sent it to my mother, my tia Isabel, and my tio Javier and tia Carmen, the flying monkeys, who had been calling me relentlessly, parroting my mother's talking points. "I would like to discuss the future of the children in a calm and final manner," I wrote. "Please come to my house this Sunday at noon." The trap was set. The blueprint was complete. Sunday arrived, thick with unspoken tension. My daughters were at a friend's house for the day. I needed a clear stage. Tia Isabel arrived first, giving my hand a reassuring squeeze. Then came Tio Javier and Tia Carmen, their faces set in grim, judgmental lines. Finally, my mother, Amalia, walked in. She was the picture of grieving matriarchal authority, dressed in somber colors, her face arranged in an expression of pained disappointment. She thought she was walking into an ambush where I was the target. She thought this was her final chance to break me down. She sat in the main armchair, the self-appointed judge, and surveyed the room. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice resonating with false piety. "We are here because Alara, in her grief, has made a heartless and selfish decision. As her mother, and as the grandmother to all of Mateo's children, I cannot stand by and watch this happen. I have a responsibility to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves." She looked directly at me, her eyes filled with a chilling sense of righteousness. "It is time to do the right thing, Alara." I let the silence hang in the air for a moment before I stood up. "You're right, Mother," I said, my voice calm and even. "We are here because of a heartless decision. But it wasn't mine." I walked over to the large television mounted on the wall and picked up a cable. As I connected Mateo's tablet, a confused murmur went through the room. My mother watched me, a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes for the first time. The screen lit up, displaying the tablet's home screen. With a few taps, I opened the message thread between her and Mateo. I enlarged the font. The entire room fell silent. The shock was a physical thing, a sudden drop in pressure. I didn't need to shout. I simply began to read. I read her words encouraging my husband to cheat. I read her critiques of my body and my career. I read her gleeful comments about his mistress's fertility. Tia Carmen gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Tio Javier's face went from ruddy with anger to pale with disbelief. Then, I switched the screen to the banking app. I displayed the transaction history, a neat column of dates and figures, a $20,000 monument to her betrayal. You weren't concerned about your Christian duty, I said, turning to face her. You were trying to hide your guilt. You didn't want me to adopt his children. You wanted me to clean up your mess. My mother crumbled. The self-righteous mask shattered, revealing the panicked, guilty woman beneath. That's not, he twisted things, she stammered, looking around the room for support, but finding only stunned, disgusted faces. Tio Javier, who just an hour before had lectured me on the phone about family loyalty, stood up and pointed a trembling finger at his sister. Amalia, he said, his voice thick with revulsion. How could you? How could you do this to your own daughter? The power in the room had shifted, completely and irrevocably. I was no longer the defendant, I was the judge. I looked at my mother, not with hatred, but with a profound and empty finality. From this day forward, you are no longer a part of my life, or my daughter's lives, I stated, each word a stone dropping into a deep well. Our relationship is over. I then turned to the rest of them. My only priority is my 2 girls. I will not be adopting the twins. However, I added, I have already instructed my lawyer to ensure a portion of Mateo's non-marital assets are placed into a trust for them. They are innocent in all of this, and they deserve a future. I am doing this because it is the right thing to do, not because of her. The aftermath was swift. My mother became a pariah in our family, her hypocrisy laid bare for all to see. A few weeks later, a miracle happened. Some distant cousins of Mateo's, the Rojas family, a wonderful couple who had struggled with infertility for years, stepped forward to adopt the twins. They are giving them a loving home, and for that, I am truly grateful. As for me and my girls, we're selling the house. It holds too many ghosts. We're packing our lives into boxes, but this time, it feels different. It's not an eviction, it's an escape. We're moving to a new state to be closer to my tia Isabel, ready for a fresh start, finally free from the weight of all the lies. We are finally free. But sometimes, in the quiet of the night, when the house is still, I find myself wondering. Was I wrong for exposing my own mother like that in front of everyone, or was it the only way to finally break free?